most people would walk away after a brawl like that. In Ezekiel 38, verse 5, we're told explicitly that Persia is the chief of enemy, adversary of Klal Yisrael by name. Persia is Iran. And it's it's very interesting, just historically, of the entire region, Europe, Asia, Persia has been, in terms of its population, has been one of the most stable of all the nations. It's like Europeans, tremendous wars, and people who are in Germany today likely were not in Germany 1,000 years ago, but that can be said of Persia. Their genetic stability is very striking. So it means that there's a considerable number of people living in Iran today who could go back genetically, that they are from the same people who are the Persians from the ancient times. What happens? They go up against Klal Yisrael. Now, another thing has to happen, and that's Ezekiel. This is right there. I beg anyone to read it. Ezekiel 38, verse 8 and 9. There it tells us the Jews will have returned. And it's important to look inside. Ezekiel 38, verse 8, and after those days, what will happen? That the Jewish people, after recovering from war, they will return back to the land of Israel after it had long been desolate. I want everyone in Mea Shearim to hear this. I want everybody in Williamsburg and Kiryas Yisrael to read this. I know you weren't taught this in Beis Rachel. I don't mean this in a bad way, but I want to say this to the yeshiva world, to my brothers and sisters. I ask the Gedolei Torah, the leaders of Klal Yisrael, those who are in charge of the curriculum for yeshivas, do you think that when Yechezkel Hanavi, HaKadosh VaTorah, do you think when he wrote these holy words, if we can go back 2,500 years and ask him, do you think our sons and daughters should read your Sefer? Okay? If you answer that probably he would, or almost certainly he would, then what possible explanation could you have that this is not being taught in Panovich or in the mirror? This is a problem. I say this with all the love of my heart, but there's a very, very big problem that these Nevi'im, they're called the oracular Nevi'im, meaning Nevi'im who went giving oracles, meaning like Musar. That's what like an oracle is, like a word of knowledge. Daniel was not an oracular Navi because he didn't go around telling the Jews how to behave. Okay, so I hope, and I speak to many Gedolei Torah and many Rosh Yeshivas, and they all agree with me. But we need great voices in the yeshiva world to say that now is the time. If Yechezkel wanted us to learn Yechezkel, if all of Chazal knew Tanakh backwards and forwards, and I assure you they did, so what shouldn't we imitate the ways of our great saints of the past? They did. The Vilna Gaon knew Tanakh backwards and forwards and instructed his Talmidim that they should teach their children Tanakh. So I just put that in there with a beg, pleading. This is the time. We're in the time of Gula. I'm not some weirdo saying this on the edge. We're not like some fringe group. Every giant that I know says that we are now in the time of the redemption. So if that's the case, then how can we not? Okay, let's go back to the text now because it's very, very important.